Mr. Vance, will you accept any deal that does not include a debt limit increase?
Look, I'll say one thing. The Democrats just voted to shut down the government, even though we had a clean CR, because they didn't want to give the president negotiating leverage during his first term, or during the first year of his new term. And number two, because they would rather shut down the government and fight for global censorship bullshit. They've asked for a shutdown, and I think that's exactly what they're going to get.
Republicans voted against it as well.
So Congress just avoided a government shutdown, but left a big mess for Donald Trump and the Republicans for 2025. And in this video, the US debt has risen regardless of administration. So Republican or Democrat, it doesn't matter. They just keep printing more money. So we're going to talk about why this is important specifically for the crypto market as Bitcoin sits at $95,000. XRP is at $2.22. When will the bleeding stop? I took the past couple days off in the Keys for my girlfriend's dad's 60th birthday. So we were having fun in the sun, and I'm just checking my portfolio as you guys have been doing over the weekend. Honestly, just laughing because this isn't our first rodeo here. And when the markets do stuff like this, the first initial reaction, of course, is panic, from the masses. But I want to set some proper expectations with you guys. So for example, in Altcoin Pro University, when you click the link below, I made this post the other day with this picture right here that looks like one of the best Christmas trees I've ever seen. If you like buying discounts, because these are some incredible holiday discounts on your favorite altcoins that you're seeing. In order to make money in crypto, you have to completely reverse your thinking from the masses. Most people say things like, man, if price was lower, I would buy. I wish I would have gotten in earlier. When price pulls back, then I'll enter. And then when the market takes a dip, they say things like, glad I didn't buy any of that crypto, or I'll wait for the price to go even lower before I buy, or it's all going to zero. The economy's going to implode, and Jerome Powell from the Federal Reserve just nuked the markets, right? Well, the herd mentality, it's funny. Over the next 1 to 3 months, we're going to see the same thing play out again as the markets make a recovery, new investors FOMO in to the next peak before the next correction happens. So I'm going to dive into the charts in this video and show you guys what's happening with Total 2. We're going to talk about XRP to the US dollar price chart, and then my forecast for where I see things moving in the macro. Now, the short term, things are still going to be dicey. They're going to be volatile. So we're going to talk about what to expect. Because if this dip scared you, you ain't seen nothing yet, dude. Just wait till the bear market is here if this is your first bull run. If this dip excites you, then you, my friend, will do very well in crypto, because dips are the opportunities of a lifetime to accumulate more of the projects that you believe in. And the peaks are the times to hedge, take profits. Now, I'm not going to give you any financial advice. These videos are purely for education and informational purposes only, and I'm just going to share my opinion, but also I want to share the facts with you guys for what's happening in the markets, because you don't make money buying when everyone is greedy. You make money when no one wants to buy, or when all the haters are saying things like, told you so, you're an idiot for buying, you're going to lose everything. This is just pure market manipulation at its finest. The elite will continue to shake out the weak hands to buy up their bags. While most people are panicking about this tiny little Bitcoin and market dip, we had Mara that bought 1.5 billion, BlackRock bought 359 million, Hut 8 bought 100 million, and Michael Saylor, he's probably hitting the market for another few $1 billion to buy more Bitcoin. So nation states are buying in stealth mode, and that's why it's important to know what you hold. So if you guys are feeling bullish, comment 777. If you're feeling blessed, comment 777. And as always, if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree, confirm it by tapping the subscribe button. Let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So as Christmas is coming up over the next few days and we get closer to January 1st, I just want to let you guys know that have joined Altcoin Pro, you guys are grandfathered in at this price point right here, $97 a month or $970 a year. Starting January 1st, this price is going to go to $197 a month and $1,970 per year, because we want to keep our community exclusive, because we've had so many people joining at that $97 price point for the value that's offered in there. So we want to offer high level education, the best experience for you guys. So if you pull that trigger before January 1st, you'll be grandfathered in. Otherwise, if you wait, then you're gonna have to pay $197 a month or $1,970 a year. Or if you just like consuming the free content here on YouTube, then that's fine too. I'm not gonna force you guys to join, because completely up to you. We have people winning left and right, and I'll share some results with you guys at the end of this video. Had you have joined Altcoin Pro, how much money you could have made over the past 30 days. But let's talk about this, because Congress just avoided a shutdown, but is leaving a massive mess for Trump, Republicans, crypto holders in 2025. So what happened here? Well, Congress struck a deal to avert a shutdown during the holidays, but in the process, it lengthened its already extensive to-do list for the first year of Donald Trump being in office. So basically think of it like if it's your last month on the job and you have all this work dumped on your desk, but you have to leave, of course you're not going to do it. You're just going to push it off to the next person that's filling your spot. That's what they're doing to Trump. So the funding bill is going to keep the government open until March 14th. Even though Republicans will control the White House, the House, and the Senate, they'll again need Democratic votes to stop a shutdown in less than 3 months. In addition to this, Trump just demanded that Congress abolish the debt ceiling to take it off of his plate next year, but they're not doing that. He even threatened to challenge Republicans in primaries if they didn't address it. However, 170 Republicans ignored him and passed a funding bill without dealing with the debt ceiling. So if you guys wonder what this is, well, like many other entities, the US government borrows money to help pay its bills. The debt ceiling established that, and at certain points, the US Treasury can no longer continue to borrow money to pay the government's fiscal obligations unless they raise the debt limit. Otherwise, it put the US in a technical default, meaning it can no longer pay its bills, let alone the interest on the bonds that they have to pay out is insane. The US essentially just pays its bills by borrowing, so without that mechanism in place, whoever the government owes money to will, in an overwhelming number of cases, fail to be paid. So what this would do to the economy is absolutely cripple everything. It would cause a recession while also affecting everything from Social Security benefits to child tax credit payments to paying US service members and contractors. But paying government officials is the least of our concerns here, especially people like Nancy Pelosi. The main concern here is how is this going to affect the crypto market? So we're going to get into that in a little bit. But first, let's talk more about what this actually means, because the debt ceiling has been relatively new in the US economic toolkit. For the first 128 years of the nation's existence, Congress directly authorized individual borrowing efforts, and that changed back in 1917 when Congress decided to impose a debt ceiling to replace separate borrowing votes and streamline the massive financial obligations imposed by World War I. And in 1939, the government officially decided to use the debt ceiling in order to manage its debt obligations. And since then, the debt ceiling has served as a nominal brake on federal spending when they get close to the debt ceiling. They try and slow down on their spending, yet overall, most of that slowing down, so to speak, has not worked at all. It hasn't gone very far. Since 1960, the debt ceiling has been raised 78 times, 49 times under Republican presidents and 29 times under Democratic administrations. So at the beginning of this video, when I said it doesn't matter who's in office, they're going to continue to spend more money, it's because they are locked in like two rams with their horns stuck together. They can't get out from the fight. The government is in a fight with itself and the amount of money that they're borrowing, because they're borrowing more than they're producing. Today, the US has one of the highest debt to GDP ratios in the world. So for the Treasury to borrow more money, the limit must be raised by Congress. And the federal debt stands at roughly $36 trillion. And the spike in inflation after the coronavirus pandemic pushed up the government's borrowing costs so much that debt next year will exceed spending on national security. And the last time lawmakers raised the debt limit was June of 2023. And rather than raising the limit by a dollar amount, lawmakers suspended the debt limit through January 1st, 2025. At that point, the limit will be automatically raised to match the amount of debt that has been issued by the Treasury Department. So they basically just gave them like a black card and said, hey, have at it, spend what you want. And they called that budgeting. So I want you guys to pay very close attention to the channel. We're going to be talking about this because there's no actual need to raise the debt limit right now. But on January 1st, literally just a week away, when the debt limit is triggered, the Treasury Department can begin using what is called extraordinary measures to ensure that America doesn't default on its debt and it can pay its bills. Now, my expectation is that they're going to raise the debt ceiling. They're going to print more money because they've done that every single time, or they're just going to push it off and have unlimited spending, which is going to send us into a gigapump for the crypto market. Now, this is going to come with massive consequences, but the most important thing to know is that lawmakers have always raised the debt ceiling in times because of the consequences of failure on what would happen if they didn't. So It's like a junkie. You know, if a junkie is so addicted to drugs and then they try and stop, they're not going to get off of it because they're going to die if they stop. The entire government is addicted to spending. They cannot get off that drug. It's the most addictive drug that they've ever been on since the dollar was taken off of the gold standard back in the 70s. So it'd be catastrophic for the economy and the global markets if they didn't keep spending. So they're going to spend until something breaks. So when Jerome Powell goes back on the money printer, what's going to happen there, in my opinion, could be what we saw after June 3rd of 2023, the last time that the debt ceiling was suspended. We saw the markets initially sell off that day of about 7%, inevitably dropping down 9%, 12 days after they suspended the limit. But then look what happened to the price of Bitcoin. Bitcoin went from $24,000 upwards of $31,000, saw another sell off to backtest those lows, and then broke out from $25,000 upwards of $49,000 as everyone got excited for the next piece of news, which was the ETF approvals. So if we zoom into where we're at right now on the daily chart, we did break to the downside of this bullish channel right here. And this support down here all the way to $90,600 is the area that we want to see Bitcoin hold and bounce to the upside. Otherwise, if that support doesn't hold, there's not really any support to the downside other than all the way back here from the 13th of March of $73,000. So Bitcoin is still holding up right now. It's doing relatively well at $95,000. It's not the end of the world with this sell-off right here. If we were to measure from the peak right here to what we just did recently over the past 3 days, it's 15%. Now, do I think we're just going to go up from right now? No, I think there's a little bit more of volatility in store. But if we just go all the way back to one of the previous bull runs for 2020 to 2021, look at how many corrections and sell-offs there were on the way up. Right here, when Bitcoin rallied up to $19,500, it dropped 17%, rallied all the way back up again to form another high, and then dropped another 11%, and then rallied all the way up here to form another high and dropped another 10%, rallied up even more, had another massive correction right here from $41,000 all the way down here of 31%. So just expect to see, 20%, 25, 30%, even 40% corrections on the way up. We just broke out relatively quick from the beginning in November, and it's been virtually up only until just recently with this pullback. So could we see a steeper correction of 20, 30%? Well, yeah, definitely it's possible. Let's see what that would look like if we were to just measure from the recent high. To go down to 20%, that's $85,000. To do a 30% correction, that's all the way down here to about $74,000. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. Now that would freak a lot of people out, right? But like I just said at the beginning of this video, if dips excite you, then you're going to do very well in crypto. The only challenge is if you don't have money on the sidelines and stablecoins to buy. So for me, I'm pretty heavily allocated to the market because I was accumulating all the way down in these levels, all the way back here in the bear market bottom, and then accumulating some more in September as well too before we saw this breakout. So I accumulate any dips with money that I do have on the sidelines, which compared to what I have in crypto is not much because I am very, very bullish still on the macro. Because when we look at the crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin, and we bring up the RSI, the stochastic RSI, and the MACD, we can see some similarities here. So the pullback that took place back in November of 2020 in this consolidation phase that happened until we broke out in January is somewhat similar to what we're going through right now. We saw the market cap go all the way upwards of $230 billion. And then we saw this steep pullback that was aggressive. It was very fast to the market, dropping 26% to backtest the previous resistance of the 17th of August right here as support. And then we just chopped and we consolidated in between this resistance and this support. We even backtested it another time and then broke on out of there. So how long was that consolidation on the left-hand side of the screen? That roughly lasted about 40 days. And so if we were to measure from the most recent peak to where we're at right now, I mean, we're what, like 16, 17 days somewhere into it. And look at what happened. We backtested perfectly off of the previous resistance on the right hand side of the screen from the top of March, the middle of March right here from that top. You saw we wicked right off of it as support on the left hand side of the screen. That's exactly what we did right here by like the 27th of November. So also let's look on the RSI. where we were at as well too. So when the RSI saw that peak upwards of $230 billion at the end of November in 2020, the RSI was at 81 right here. And so the RSI saw a sell-off all the way down here to 40 before we saw the next break to the upside. Now on the right hand side of the screen, we see the same thing happen. The RSI was upwards of 82. We're seeing the RSI break all the way down and it's at 39 right now. So I don't think this correction's over. I think we're going to consolidate for the next week or two in between this range right here and coil up. Similar to what we do most times when we see a break of a previous range, we just consolidate on top of it to build support, and we use the previous resistance in this case, which would be like $1.3 trillion, give or take, a few million here and there as support before we see the next move to the upside. Now, where things would get a little dicey is if we broke this support, and if I were to be looking at the charts right now and the price would be doing something like this, then yeah, maybe there'd be an area for concern here, but we're not seeing that right now. We're seeing it play out just like we saw happen in the past. Look at the stochastic RSI on the daily as well too. The K line is at 2.29, the D line is at 2.29. We are in oversold territory. Also, look at the MACD as well too. We did see a bearish cross all the way up here where the MACD line crossed below the signal line. So bears are in control right now, but look at what happened in the past with the stochastic RSI and the MACD as well too. When we saw that sell-off happen, we went into oversold territory all the way down here for the K line and the D line on the stochastic RSI, and we also saw a bearish cross above 0 for the MACD on the daily. And it was just a washing machine of consolidation before we broke out. So we don't know exactly what that's going to look like on the price chart, but we can see some confluence here from the left to the right side with what happened on the RSI. And when the RSI bottoms out over the next few weeks, I would expect there to be a bounce higher. Simultaneously, I would expect the stochastic RSI to reverse back to the upside and eventually the MACD to reverse as well too. Now, what does this mean for XRP? Well, XRP right now is at the whims of the rest of the market. So we're just consolidating within this range. We can see resistance all the way up here at the high of $2.90. We can see support right here at $1.90. We did come down with this flash crash and we bounced off of support. So now we're just consolidating between support and resistance. And so during times like this, a lot of newbies in the market, they question, should they hold XRP? Should they buy more XRP? What should they do? Now, I'm never going to tell you to buy or sell anything because I don't give financial advice. But if we see total 2 breakout with Bitcoin and Bitcoin starts reversing to the upside, then we just see liquidity flow into XRP and XRP would make the move higher as well too. Now, if Bitcoin doesn't bounce, then the sentiment for altcoins isn't going to be that bullish until Bitcoin makes a move. So we're just going to remain in this range below $2.90 and above $1.90 until one of two things happens here. It's really simple. It's really logical. We don't use emotion here. Number one, we either break support, or number two, we break resistance. Now, I know you're thinking, no Sherlock, but when one of those two things happen, how I trade the markets is I wait for a break in a back test before I enter. Because if you're just entering right here in the middle of this range at like $2.17 and we see a sell off back down to support it as well too, you're at a loss. And on the contrary, if you sell your XRP right now and then we just start working our way through this range to the upside and we break resistance, then your emotions are going to take over and you're going to get caught FOMOing in on a breakout when we could come back within this range. So that's why time in the markets always beats trying to time the markets, because not a human being on planet Earth, even the best traders in the world, like myself, of course, I'm just not up there with Warren Buffett yet. But Warren Buffett, what he does, he literally just sits on his bags for so long. He doesn't focus on trying to time or entry points and exit points and all that stuff. He just sits for a while. He holds. So what am I doing right now? I'm holding my bags. That's what I'm doing. Because I didn't just come here for a measly little 4 or 5x with XRP buying below 50 cents here. I came for the face melting rally that government overspending and printing is going to create. Now, is it going to happen overnight? No, most likely not. But when it does happen, it happens quick. Look how fast XRP runs, guys, when it does run. So if you're okay with entering in the markets, let me ask you this. If you were to buy XRP at these levels and XRP just continuously does this and drops all the way down to support or even breaks below support, will you be okay with seeing your portfolio go down further with money you can afford to lose? If the answer is yes, then you got nothing to worry about, because once XRP finds a support, if the markets reverse back to the upside, then it's similar to the people who bought XRP at like 80 cents or $1 a few years back and now they're in profit. Because when the government has an unlimited amount that they could spend and they keep raising the debt ceiling, that's further going to debase the US dollar, and that's going to move liquidity out of what they keep spending into stuff that has a max supply on it. And that's where it's going to go into Bitcoin. It's going to go into XRP. It's going to go into projects like Chainlink, Sui, Solana, you name it, a lot of the top large cap projects. The challenge here is just getting out of this range and having a long-term viewpoint on the market during the short-term volatility over the course of 3 days when you're freaking out. You know, I'm out there snorkeling with barracudas trying not to get eaten, and then get back on the boat and check my portfolio and watching the market makers gobble up those green candles that we got at the tail end of November. But when I'm in doubt, what do? I zoom out, I compare to the past, look at this range right here from November to January before the breakout happened, and let's just trace it up on the chart right now for where we're currently at. This is what it would look like, something like this, if we were to continue doing what we've done every single market cycle. So when the next move up happens into price discovery for the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, I think that move is going to be absolutely massive. Now, could the bull run be over right now? And could this be the peak right here? Well, if that's the peak and they literally just pushed it up to the previous high of 2021, then I don't even want the profits. They can have all of it. That ain't even worth the gains that I've got thus far from buying back at the end of 2022 and early 2023. That ain't changing my life. I'll just let it ride and I'll leave it till 2030. I came here for the face melting gains. Now, my risk tolerance might be a little bit different than most people. You might not have that high of a risk tolerance. For me, I'm young. I know I can turn nothing into something. I can always make money again. My life doesn't revolve around money, even though I talk a lot about it. Money to me is just a tool to buy more freedom. And so my mindset, the way that I think is right now, exiting now would be like exiting right as we go into the third quarter of the game. I don't even think we're in the fourth quarter yet. I think the game really just got interesting, and the home team, which is the crypto team, just has to go through this next choppy consolidation phase above the previous range to build support before we make the next move up. So don't be surprised if the market bounces and everyone thinks we're going to start to recover, and then bam, we flash crash back down again, and then we start working our way on out of here for the next leg up. When a rebound happens, we don't just go up right away, although it's possible. I just expect there to be more choppy range-bound trading action. So that's why it's important to look at support zones, and that's where you can set limit orders. A limit order is essentially you just choosing what price you want to buy an asset at in case it dips into that support while you're sleeping. That's how you get better entry points. So for example, that support zone for XRP would be between $1.90 to $1.96. Now, XRP is still in a downtrend since the 17th of December. So the trend is your friend until we form a higher high. We put in a lower high right here on the 17th of December that was lower than the high of the 3rd of December. And so we need to clear $2.73 to ultimately see a trend reversal. Otherwise, we could see XRP sweep out these lows one final time before making the next move up, because the RSI right now is at 41. It's not really that oversold. The stochastic RSI, the K line is at 25. The D line is at 24. The MACD formed a bearish cross right here on the 21st of December. So XRP most likely just goes sideways or down in the short term, giving the stochastic RSI time to reset down here below 20, the RSI time to reset closer to 30, and then the MACD time to form a bullish cross and reverse back to the upside. So like I just said, I'm not selling XRP, I'm holding it, because March 10th, when the Federal Reserve shifts over to the new ISO standard, I think we're going to see buy the rumors start to take place. On top of that, Gary Gensler stepping down on the 20th. Look at this. The SEC just posted this saying in the event of a federal government shutdown due to a lapse in appropriations, the SEC's operating status will change concurrently with the rest of the federal government. So they said they would currently be prepared for a potential shutdown of the SEC. Now the SEC needs to permanently be shut down because of what Gary Gensler has done in this rogue agency going after crypto companies that have done nothing wrong, and then letting companies like FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried run wild, harming a lot of investors, and Gary Gensler just turning a blind eye to it until it was too late. But here's the biggest reason why I'm holding XRP long term. Brad Garlinghouse came out in an interview a while back. This one's more recent, but he's saying that Bitcoin has been a successful experiment, but not when it comes to payments.
As was said earlier, Bitcoin in many ways has been a successful experiment, but not when it comes to payments. The throughput of Bitcoin, both in terms of to confirm a transaction, often can take an hour. I think Tavis said earlier, you're not going to use Bitcoin to buy coffee unless you want to wait there an hour for it to confirm the transaction. And then the transaction cost would be pretty high.
So if you guys remember when Trump tried to pay for a burger with Bitcoin, they just said it went through. It actually didn't go through because it takes longer to send. So everyone knows that XRP is a lot faster. It's a lot better. It's the final product. Bitcoin is beta test coin. And now that Ripple has launched their stablecoin, they got regulatory approval on December 10th. In 2025, RLUSD will join the Ripple Payments Network, enabling enterprise clients to handle global payments. Their stablecoin is going to provide faster, cheaper cross-border transactions for institutions to send big money. So right now it's only for the XRP Ledger and Ethereum. Whereas if you look at USDT, it's for Algorand, Avalanche, Bitcoin, EOS, Ethereum, Polkadot, Polygon, Solana, Tron, Tezos, and then USDC as well too. So there's a lot more for Ripple to add in terms of blockchains that are supported. And so I would just expect them to continuously make updates and add more blockchains all through 2025. Because when we look right here, regulatory approval, Tether is limited on regulatory oversight. They're going to be banned in so many different regions. USDC is regulated under US law, and RLUSD is approved by the New York Department of Financial Services. So Ripple is going after a completely different client here because they want institutional payments, whereas, USDT is for like trading, payments, and DeFi, more of the degen space and a lot of these leverage exchanges. Alongside USDC, that's just a little more regulated. RLUSD is one of the most compliant, and that's just going to bring bigger money to the table long term. So for those of you guys that are excited about the rest of this bull run, check this out. Over the community section in Altcoin Pro, we have this tab right here called Post Your Wins. I thought this was a really cool post from Tom Ryan a few days ago saying he sold this girl's car for $4,000 when she was in Air Force boot camp. He sent her $500 to invest in XRP at 65 cents, and he actually sent her $4,000 and she put it all into XRP, and then 40 days later she's up to $8,800. So he said, teach your kids, give them a chart, and with this win she's buying her first new car this Christmas. So the most important thing you can give your kids is not money, you can give them an education, right? Knowledge is the most valuable thing that you have because that can't be taken from you. So we have a lot of other wins in here as well too. Like Eric Rockhard, he says he's a crypto newbie. He took $85,000 and turned it into over $305,000 in just 6 months, which is absolutely incredible. Right here, Jolt booked his vacation with profits. We had Cameron Alexander in his first month of meme coins, he turned $12,500 into over $29,000. And so at the top, when you guys get started right now for only $97 a month or $970 a year, you get access to our general discussions, market updates, altcoin picks, DeFi yield picks, airdrop picks, crypto news, community picks as well too. Post your questions, get answers from our community and our research team. And also when you go into the classroom right here all the way at the top, you want to start here and then you can go through all of these different valuable videos. There's over 100 plus in here teaching you everything that you need to know. And a lot of people wonder why we don't just do this on YouTube. It's because YouTube doesn't give us the ability to organize things properly. It's a mess trying to find all these different videos. So you can try and do the research all yourself, or you can go here in a very organized format. And also we can gatekeep out spammers and scammers because there's a lot of impersonators in the comments, and in our community we have about 1,000 people. So it's very easy to see if someone's trying to scam someone in the community. We just remove them. Whereas in the YouTube comment section, we've banned thousands of accounts and they just keep coming back under unlimited IP addresses. So those are just a few of the benefits of joining Altcoin Pro University. I could go on and on and on, but what I want you to do right now is click the link in the description below, watch this 26-minute video so you can see everything that you're getting access to for this low price point right now of only $97 a month to get grandfathered in. Otherwise, you can wait till January 1st after Christmas, and then you're just gonna have to pay more money. Or you can get started right now, upgrade to annual, save $194 rather than paying monthly, and get these exclusive bonuses right here that are only for the first 1,000 annual members. So they're still available right now because not all 1,000 people are an annual customer. I know some people were asking us that, but if you're unhappy for whatever reason, you're covered by our 30-day, no questions asked, money back guarantee. So if you wanna go through everything, learn as much as possible, the worst case scenario that I tell everyone is you learn something new. That's the worst case scenario, because we're not gonna tell you to invest your life savings into anything. You're a full-grown adult. I don't have to insult your intelligence here. You can invest as much as you want. I'm not going to tell you what that amount is, but we've had people that have become millionaires because of the information, the education that we provide. So we have the best research team in the world, and you can get access to everything right now when you click the link in the description below and get started today. So I appreciate you guys for watching this video. If you don't see me on here over the next few days, I'm going to be taking some time off to spend it with family because I've been going hard every single day making videos nonstop for like the past 4 years. I think the most amount of time that I've taken off in 4 years is like 4 days or 5 days max. So it's going to be nice going into 2025 to just chill, hang back. I'm going to be holding the whole time. I don't care how much the market crashes over Christmas. If we see a deeper liquidity flush out, I'm going to keep backing up my truck all the way to the bank, grabbing the bags, packing them, stacking them, leaving no bags left behind, because I believe the spending power of the dollar is just going to keep going down in value. That's a fact. Based on inflation. Blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, and cryptocurrencies have been going up in value over time on the macro. That's also a fact. And together, we're all running to the top. I'll see you guys in the next video. I will see you on bullrunners.com. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish.